welcome to Mighty Morphin Rangers, the podcast where we watch an episode of Power Rangers and then we discuss it after we watch it. This is a special candlelit edition of the show. Unfortunately, it's a podcast, so the candles aren't going to mean anything to you. We'll have to enjoy them for you.
If it's dark where you are, turn off all the lights, light some candles.
Put on some saucy music along with podcasts.
I mean, you don't have to do that. You can, look, if that's what does it for you, you're perfectly welcome to do it.
I like to think of it as a value add. You know, where no, you're giving me a no look.
Okay, so this is episode 32, A Star is Born.
Yeah.
And Matt, who are we joined by today?
Sarah's back.
Hello.
Hey Sarah, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back on, guys.
Thank you for joining us
Happy
and
to be here.
lighting the candles.
Yeah, anytime.
We're also joined by a cat.
Yeah, I got a cat on my lap.
My cat Aggie is accompanying us tonight. She may meow in your general direction.
That happens very rarely, though. I think we'll be okay.
You never know. You might get a bit of bonus cat.
So Power Rangers.
Bit off topic today.
So before we start the episode, do we have any list of questions?
Yeah, well, there's one thing to talk about, and then we do have a question from a listener.
Yeah.
So there was an image circulating during the week, or during our week, obviously, that suggested that Jason David Frank would be coming back to Power Rangers for Dino Charge as, I think, a Silver Ranger.
Wow.
It's not a thing, to the best of my awareness. As far as I know, it was just like a fan Photoshop.
Yeah.
Certainly nothing official has been announced.
Yeah.
And I feel like Jason David Frank would definitely have said something if something had happened.
Probably.
I was thinking when I saw it, I don't necessarily know that I'd want him back.
Yeah, I think we've been back to the well.
Yeah, I like him, and he's good on the show, and he's good for the show.
Yeah.
But I think he's been back as a Ranger for a season already, and been back in a cameo as well.
Yeah.
As well as sticking around for a very long time the first time he was on the show.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe if someone was going to come back, they could get someone else. I didn't have any thoughts. Who would you like to see back if they got someone back as a full-time Ranger for a season?
From Mighty Morphin?
From any point. Presumably they'd go from Mighty Morphin just because that's got the most recognition.
Well, I think a lot of the other Rangers are sort of no longer available or have passed from sort of the showbiz life.
Yes.
I mean, we all know that Adam is my favourite Power Ranger.
Yes, we've discussed that several times.
But he was back for Overdrive, so it's not like, we haven't had enough Adam recently. Yeah, but besides Adam, I guess maybe Kimberly?
Right.
I don't know, is Amy Jo Johnson still... She's sort of acting.
She's definitely... Yeah, she's still acting, and definitely recently has come around more to
Power Rangers
being more comfortable with the idea of having been a Power Ranger and everything that entails.
Yeah.
I think I saw on Facebook David Yost, who played Billy, is going hiking with Power Rangers fans.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Like, he's a hiker who basically said, if you're in the area, come with me on a hike, which seems super cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'd do that.
If I happened to be there when he was going on a hike, I'd totally go on a hike.
Yeah. That's cool.
That is pretty cool of him.
Yeah. And I think he was sort of the other longest-serving Ranger after Tommy. So, yeah.
I think he could definitely come back in a support capacity if he was interested in doing it.
And I think as far as active Rangers go, it'd have to be Kim or Zach.
Yeah.
Both of whom I think would be excellent choices.
Not that will probably ever happen, because they would be expensive. Yeah. And the reason this show is still on after 20 years is because it is remarkably cheap to make. Did you have a favourite Power Ranger so far from what you've seen, Sarah, that you'd like to see come back?
Well, so you mean as in the actors who played?
Yes, returning as the character.
Returning. I do admittedly have a strange fondness for Billy for me. So, yeah, I think I'd like that. Yeah, or even like some of the old school monsters.
Yep.
Would be fun, like, just to have, like, an appearance of some of those, because I love them in a, like,
bit of
really
modern
weird...
eye guy action.
Yeah. Because they're hilarious. Yeah.
Okay.
That would be really odd, wouldn't it, to see, like, Finks to come back?
Yeah, that'd be pretty good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Except I don't know that he's able to come back.
Did he die on screen at the end of...
I don't know.
Okay. Well, we'll find out in the several years when it's...
So many years.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Okay, so before we started recording, I put out a call to some of our friends saying if you have any questions about Power Rangers that you'd like answered, now would be the time. And the first question I got back was, why Power Rangers? To which I responded, I mean, look, he's welcome to ask us questions about anything, but they'll be a bit out of topic for the show. But what he meant was, why are we doing a podcast about Power Rangers?
Yeah.
Like, why did we choose Power Rangers? So, do you want to go into that a bit, Matt?
Yeah, I think we discussed it a little bit on the first episode, but I guess it was our childhood affinity for it. You know, it was so ingrained in our childhoods. And we often ended up talking about Power Rangers anyway.
That is true.
It got to the point where we were sort of sitting down and talking about Power Rangers regularly enough that we figured we could just turn on the microphone.
Yeah.
And
so you guys were just in normal conversation, like chatting about...
Far more frequently than is normal, yes.
Normal in air quotes, but normal conversation.
Yeah, we talked a lot about Power Rangers.
It was originally going to be a written blog.
Yes.
With Lauren a bit more heavily involved, but unfortunately she has a life.
Yeah, unlike us.
She couldn't be involved as regularly. And I talked you into it being a podcast.
And you said to me, we should do a podcast instead.
Yeah.
And I said, it'll be a lot more work. And you said, no, you don't have to write anything, you just record it. I said, no, it'll be a lot more work. And it probably is less work for you.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
On the other end, it's more work. But, you know, that's okay. I don't mind it. It's fun.
I think it's a pretty unique collaboration. I think you guys have come up with a pretty nifty idea.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
We have fun.
We do have fun.
Which is good, because there is so much to get through.
That's right, yeah. If you weren't having fun, I think it would be unbearable. But and it is fun. I think that's another one of the reasons why. Because it's so silly.
Yeah.
You know, that it's interesting.
When it's not good,
yeah,
it's at least silly enough to be worth watching.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so I think we'll stop our intro there. And we're going to go watch episode 32.
A Star is Born.
Star is Born. Do you reckon it's a star-shaped monster?
Well,
we did just have one of those.
Rockstar, I believe, was a star-shaped monster. Rocks.
I think he was a fortnight ago.
Yeah.
So we've had some star monsters recently.
Some star power?
Maybe it's like a star hero.
I kind of assumed that the rock star was going to be an actual rock star, and then turned out to be a rock monster shaped like a star. So maybe the star of A Star is Born is like a musical star or an acting star.
Oh.
Maybe.
Or like the rock monster has a child. Like...
That would...
That'd be surprising.
Yeah, especially given that it got horribly destroyed 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. I was thinking we were about to witness an amazing monster birth or something, but no.
That'd be weird even for this show.
Yeah, look, if it's that, guys, I mean, we will all be very impressed and slightly scared that Sarah is a psychic. So we're going to go watch that.
Yep.
You can too, and we'll be back in a bit.
And we're back. We just watched episode number 32, A Star is Born.
Yep.
Now, before we get into this, Michael, I have to ask you, how long is it until we start getting original American footage of the Rangers?
28 episodes.
Oh, God.
I mean, there might be some coming up, but certainly we don't hit kind of major significant changes until the second season.
Because this is the most egregious and lazy
It's really cobbled together, isn't it? And clearly out of 2 different episodes.
Yes.
I got a little bit confused. Or if not confused, just, you know, I had moments where I was just like, yeah.
Not following along.
Yeah, I just kind of faded out through it.
But, you know,
what is happening?
I kind of dug it as well. Like, it was clearly not great, but it was different and interestingly structured, and enough kind of different stuff was going on.
It was
compared to what we've been used to seeing. That
I think as like a 6-year-old kid, you'd be pretty chuffed because this has the highest like Megazord 5 minutes.
Megazords, Kung Fu, Bulk gets all sort of goo on his face. Let's take it from the start.
Okay, let's do it. So we start off in the high school.
Yep.
Learning that there will be a karate commercial.
Yes.
Happening sometime soon. and they're doing auditions for the commercial, and it looks like they get some sort of coverage.
Yes.
Maybe national coverage. It's not explicitly stated.
No, but it's definitely an ad, and it's
a big deal for the kids, at least. It's interesting that Tommy's getting very excited about potentially being like a TV star in an advertisement, despite being
given that he's a Power Ranger and like an actual superhero saving the world.
Yeah,
but he can't be on TV.
He is frequently on TV.
Not without a mask on.
That's true.
So this is a chance for his ego to shine.
Yeah.
And so Bulk comes over.
Yeah, because we find out that Bulk is also going to be auditioning.
Yeah.
And sort of intimates that he is very confident.
Yep.
That he'll be taking the position in the advertisement.
Tommy pulls his scarf off and does some jumpy kicks and kind of...
Let's not rush past that. Bulk is wearing, like, a very thin scarf that I don't think is for temperature purposes.
No,
it's silky.
It's a scarf for having a scarf.
Which sort of contrasts with his leather jacket.
Yeah, the look on Bulk has always been kind of a bit odd.
It's eclectic. It's eclectic. It's original.
It kind of feels like they're stepping away from the, he's a super punk kind of thing. And now he's just wearing whatever they've got.
He's just odd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think he's less of a threat and more comic relief.
Yeah. So Tommy does some karate moves to demonstrate the fact that he's much better at karate than Bulk, just in case anyone was
in case
Bulk
had, since last week, become a super karate master.
Which was, it was a little egotistical. He was loving it, smirking away.
Yeah, I think those guys take a bit too much joy in putting Bulk down.
Yeah.
But he does bring it upon himself.
The problem is, he is always kind of at fault. If he was less of a dick, then everyone else would be less of a dick to him.
Yeah.
It's like Newton's second law.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all that happens in that scene, and then we transition to the beach.
The beach, all of a sudden.
Because, of course...
No, sorry, before we go to the beach, we go to the moon.
Oh, yeah.
Because Rita Repulsa this week is having none of it. She's tired, or she's got a headache, or she doesn't want to be involved.
She's
whingy. Yeah. So Goldar basically says, "Can I have a go?" And Rita's like, "I literally do not give a shit. Just, look... It cannot possibly go worse, and if it goes well, it'll be done. So you go have a go, and we'll see what happens." And Goldar's sword wobbles when he shakes it. Did you see that? Yeah. It's whatever it's made out of. It's
not
like
Valyrian
rubber or something, yeah. So then we go to the beach, and did you notice that all the Rangers have colour-coded beach chairs?
I did indeed. To match their colour-coded outfits. But no one knows they're the Power Rangers.
I feel like someone must have picked it up.
Yeah.
Maybe we're at the point now where it's like an open secret and we just have to pretend that we don't know that they're the Power Rangers.
Everyone assumes the Power Rangers.
Yes. Oh no, who could the Power Rangers be?
I thought it was cute that they were getting the beach together. Just to hang out and...
Well, I think it's like a weekend or something.
Yeah.
So
except that they both go to school twice. But I guess that's because the auditions at the school. Because they only have 2 sets.
Yeah. In
Power Rangers. The school and the juice bar.
They really, really do.
And sometimes they shoot out in the bushes.
Yeah. So Bulk and Skull show up.
Yeah.
And Bulk says that he's there to get a tan.
Yeah.
Right? That's the idea. Now he rocks up to the beach wearing basically the same thing he was wearing in the earlier scene, but without the shirt under the leather jacket. So you can... Look, I don't want to... he's a larger guy. I don't want to fault him for that. That's not, a thing. But it's not an attractive look.
No. I mean, you should dress to, your body.
Yes.
Right? And for Bulk, that is not wearing a leather jacket and a scarf.
And nothing else on your top. Yeah.
That it's not flattering for him.
No. Or the audience.
No. And it makes what comes up all the worse.
Oh, boy. Guys, look. We've been talking about this for 32 weeks, okay? We know we go on and on. But this week, we hit an all-new high or low, depending on how you're looking at it. So
We are, of course, referring to the time-honoured tradition of Bulk getting liquid squirted onto his face.
This week it's sunscreen.
Well, I thought it was oil. You know how he wanted a tan? I thought he was being oiled.
Possibly. So
it was white, though.
It is white and foamy.
Yes. Unfortunately.
So suntan lotion, perhaps?
Yeah, some sort of...
Either way, it
explodes on his face.
Well, I don't understand why he can't do it himself. Why does Skull need to assist?
Because otherwise Skull would have nothing else to do. And he couldn't be in a scene without Skull.
And I think it's all the worse because it comes from Skull. Like, he sort of
shakes the bottle
and like, squirts too much of his lotion out all over Bolt's face. And look, I don't want to go there, but we have to address it, I think. It's the most direct sort of bukkake reference.
It's the gayest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would be super gross if that was the end of the Goop on Bulk thing for this week.
Yeah.
But they decided to double up for God knows what reason.
Oh.
So Skull, in his picnic hamper, has got mayonnaise.
And I just remember this bit as well.
It gets a jingle, okay? It's not just any mayonnaise. It's Timmy P's real brand mayonnaise. Now look, I've done a Google. As far as I can tell, that's not a real mayonnaise, okay?
It's a completely made-up mayonnaise. And this jingle isn't diegetic. It's not like there's a commercial playing in the background or on the radio.
No, it's just when we get a shot of it, we get Timmy P's real brand mayonnaise.
I have a question for the group.
Yes?
Whose decision was that, do you think?
I don't know.
Who decided, you know what, we should bake a jingle for this mayonnaise and play that?
Do you think it was a sponsorship?
As far as I can tell, it is not a real thing that exists.
Mm. And it just doesn't seem like that's the sort of thing you'll get, like, a sponsorship.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't think you want to advertise your projects by squirting them all over.
No, and you wouldn't want to advertise mayonnaise on Power Rangers. It's just not the right...
It's just not the right audience.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Why?
It's baffling, as this show so often is.
It's kind of almost getting to the point where it's good. Because it's so bad, you know, like it's like it's creative.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
so weird.
It's very weird, and I think it's just too disturbing to like. You have that moment where you're just groaning.
Yeah. So what happens with the mayonnaise is that Skull gets Bulk to put the sun visor over his face so he can't see, and rubs the mayonnaise all over Bulk.
Like you don't even need to see him rub. Like they hold the shot a bit longer just to see him rubbing it in.
Yeah, like gets it soaked into his pores.
They could have just like he could have slapped it on and be like, "Oh, there's mayonnaise on him now." But no. Like,
the one good thing about it is that it's nice to see Skull kind of stand up for himself a bit.
Yeah, get one over on Bulk.
Yeah, it's like Bulk is normally a total dick to him, and he's like, "Yeah, well, fuck you, I'm putting mayonnaise on your stomach." Because there's some dude in the writer's room who likes that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Clearly.
And his tummy is hairy, and it's just unpleasant.
It's not a great
surface for mayonnaise.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, gosh. Okay.
So that happens.
Yeah. So cut back to
the school. Because Bulk has left.
Yeah, so the time frame on this, apparently the auditions are at the school.
Yeah.
Which is obviously because why would you build a second set when we've got a set? But yeah, Bulk is back. So apparently his plan was to get a tan 3 to 4 hours before the commercial.
Like, I think that's being very generous because the Rangers are still at the beach
when Tommy is doing... Yeah, that's true.
So it's really like an hour, I think.
But it's enough time for him to have gotten horribly sunburnt.
Yeah.
So, mind you, maybe that's quicker with mayonnaise on you. I just don't know.
Yeah, it could be like oil.
Maybe all the giant monsters being dropped through the sky is bad for the ozone layer over Angel Grove.
Oh, that almost makes sense. That's how scary that is. So, look, Bulk goes in. He's got sunburn all over his face.
He's got his denim jacket over his gi. His karate gi.
Yeah, well, you know, how else would you know he was a punk?
But not punk enough to not wear the gear.
No, you've got to dress up, okay? And he basically does like 2 to 3 minutes of comedy kung fu.
Yeah.
And, there's a bit where he grabs a folder and he throws it in the air and kung fu's at the paper while it's falling. I'll be honest, it got a laugh.
It's pretty decent physical comedy. I think one of the show's redeeming features is that whatever the guy's name is who plays Bulk, it has pretty good physical comedy timing.
Yeah. The bits they're giving him are not good.
No.
But he is reasonably competent.
Yeah.
And, there's enough of a joke in it that it kind of works.
Yeah.
And, so then we go back to the beach, where Scorpina has suddenly arrived with a pet worm, which shoots string at the Power Rangers. It's clearly a monster worm, but it's not like a monster. It's the size of like a small worm.
Well, it's
a large worm, but it's just the size of a hand, right? And it shoots like pink string, and the Rangers end up, all of them, in like a large red cylinder.
Before we get to that, what annoyed me most about this part was it was clearly the leftover footage from the Rockstar episode.
I actually don't think it is.
I'm pretty sure it is, because that pool bit...
It's the same pool, but this is from a different episode, because the worm monster was his whole separate episode.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they just... Look, we've seen the same park 30 times. Is it unreasonable to think that they went back to the beach?
I guess not. Yeah, it just looked like because they're playing Scorpina on the rock pool.
It's definitely... I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of the shots are.
Yeah.
But certainly the stuff with the worm is all from a different episode.
Okay, so strange.
And so, in this cylinder, the Power Rangers are trapped.
Yeah.
So the putties push it off a cliff into the water.
Where it floats.
Yeah,
because it's watertight. Had they poked a hole in it, they would have been fine. The Power Rangers were drowned.
But then the Power Rangers could have escaped, Matt. Don't be silly.
Well, they did that anyway. Spoiler warning.
Now, here's the thing, right? As a plan for Goldar, this is working out for him reasonably well.
Thus far, yeah.
Right? Tommy is unavailable because he's left his communicator in his bag when he's gone into his audition.
Yeah.
So he can't go save them. Zordon and Alpha know that something is going on, but they can't communicate and they can't help. They don't really have any other allies. If it hadn't been for the fact that they can apparently just really easily get out.
Yeah. There was a moment where Zordon seems to be knowing what's going on inside of the tube, even though they don't have any communication with them. Did you notice that?
No.
Zordon is magic. He's a wizard. He's literally a wizard, actually.
Like they're like, oh, they can't get out. Oh, wait, no, they're trying with their guns now. Oh, right, now it's happening. Like, he was narrating it, but they had no communication with them.
He also very explicitly and with emphasis calls Alpha 5 twice in the episode, which hasn't happened.
Don't know why. Maybe they had to have a conversation about professionalism in the workplace. And I will use your full name. That's only appropriate. Do you want to talk about Tommy's kung fu?
Karate.
They call them interchangeable things on the show.
I don't think they do. I think it's always referred to as karate.
Okay, do you want to talk about?
I'm not certain.
Do you want to talk about his karate?
It's pretty good karate.
It's pretty good. He jumps up on the desk. Does a flip. There's a couple of repeated shots of his crotch.
Yeah. They keep doing this sort of weird slow-mo replay thing over and over again.
Like a record scratch, but for video.
Yeah.
It's certainly not uncommon in films and TV of that kind of vintage.
Yeah.
It's just, that's what they did.
But yeah, there is that one shot where he jumps up and does like the splits in midair and thrusts his...
And the camera just stays on his groin. It doesn't pull out so you can see the whole move.
Yeah.
Because, who cares about the kung fu?
And then one of the judges is like, I would like to see more of you or something. And
all these female judges are quivering.
She's definitely like, yeah, we're getting him back. If you know what I mean. So... The Power Rangers, basically just get out their guns and shoot their way out.
Yeah,
yeah.
I would have maybe started with that rather than panicking. We do get some shots of what is clearly meant to be the tube spinning, but is also clearly just them spinning the camera, like Star Trek style. Like, everybody do this, and we'll rock the camera, and it'll look like you've been hit by an explosion.
Except that no one falls as...
No, they're clearly still standing.
Yeah, it doesn't conform to gravity at all. But, like, you know, it also does look like... You know those... I don't know if you ever had them at preschool, those, like, weird long tubes that you crawl through to play in. No,
did your preschool have dodgy?
I know what you mean. Yeah, like sort of plastic fabricy things.
Yeah, so it
spiral and
so it had like a wire spiral, and then it was like had fabric over it, and you would crawl through it. And they're quite
I kind of understand what you mean.
Yeah, it looks like just a slightly bigger one of those.
Yeah,
so you know we're not talking amazing budget here.
No, but it's not bad for what it is, I guess. Yeah. So Zordon says, teleport them to their Zords.
As soon as they get out, teleport them directly to their Zords.
Immediately.
You don't have the right footage.
And also, warn the Rangers Goldar has sent down Babe Ruthless, the baseball monster. And that was it from us. I mean, it's just... I don't know what about the preceding Babe Ruthless footage was unsuitable.
Yeah. If
they thought him unmorphed or if, like, clearly they couldn't use it.
Yeah.
Because we've gotten this worm plot up until the giant Babe Ruth monster.
Yeah.
Who we fight giant and then he's never seen again. So, Babe Ruthless appears fully grown.
Yeah.
And so do Goldar and Scorpina. Which is, I think, the first time they've ever been fully grown without Rita.
I think so.
Which is so clearly she's not necessary.
Well, I think it's implied that she makes them grow because no one else can, as far as we know at this point.
We definitely don't see anything there. In this Megazord sequence, Billy has a couple of lines that are definitely some other dude.
Oh, you think so?
Definitely. Either that or he had a major cold.
Okay, that's
because there's somewhere he sounds like him, and somewhere he actually sounds more like Zach.
Oh, okay. I didn't pick up on that.
Because the first time I thought, have they put the footage with the wrong Ranger? But then there's, like, immediately after that, there's a shot of Zach that sounds like Zach. So...
Yeah, it's interesting. And I also noticed that what Billy says sounds cool, but has no bearing on what actually happens. Because he says, let's split up and, like, get them from either side to free Jason from the situation, but... That's
great, but they've only got footage of them standing still and shooting their guns. Yeah. So that's what you get.
Yeah.
So we get some Zord fighting. They're pretty tough, this fight. I mean, it's 3 against 5, but not quite. Really, they'd be 1 if they combined.
Yeah.
So they get into some trouble. And Tommy has just left his communicator in his bag in a room full of people, which I guess probably goes against the secret identity rules.
Probably. I don't know what's worse. It going off when it's on him, when he's around people, or going off when he's not there with it.
Like if someone else had gone through his bag.
Yeah. What would happen? There'd be a weird steel watch that doesn't have numbers on it.
And someone would definitely notice, why does he wear this thing on his wrist that is completely useless? But then Tommy comes out of the commercial, clearly feeling quite good.
Yeah.
And
because he'd been hit on by 3 cougars.
You know, that'd make my day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know what happens after that point. He just sort of leaves.
He leaves the room
very smug.
Yeah.
Nobody else is around.
Oh, okay. Yep, that possibly happened. So basically, he summons the Dragon Zord. The Dragon Zord comes, do a bit more fighting.
That happens.
Then we go to the. I always get these confused. I always think I'm going to look it up and then I forget to.
Yeah.
They create the one that is the Dragon Zord with 2 of the other Zords for feet.
Yep.
And not the Megazord wearing it like a cloak. The other one. And at this we get an explanation for something we've been wondering about for a while, where Jason says, I'm going to put my one on remote.
Yeah.
And jumps into the Dragon Zord.
From his Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Which explains why he is in the cockpit, but also how that Zord is still there.
Would have been useful to see that, like,
the first time,
ago,
maybe.
like...
And it still doesn't explain what Kimberly is doing at all, because her Zord is not involved, but she's also in the cockpit. But we'll take what we can get at this
I think
point.
we can extrapolate from that she, like, base jumps off her pterodactyl into the...
I'm pretty sure she'd have a parachute.
So we see this Zord, and a bit later on, which we'll get to, we see the Mega Dragon Zord.
Mega Dragon Zord, yeah.
So what do you think the thought process is between, like, for using one Zord over the other?
Do you mean in-universe?
Yes.
Because the out-of-universe answer is whichever one they used in the Japanese show.
Yes, I know that.
Right. So presumably, I guess it would be... The one with the Dragon Zord is like the cloak.
Yeah.
That's the Megazord plus the Dragon Zord.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one is the Dragon Zord and a little bit of and a few of the other Zords. So I guess it's like a scaling, only use their weapons for defense kind of deal.
It seems like an oddly specific interpretation of that rule, though.
Yeah, well, look, I don't have a better answer.
Yeah. No, it's just strange that they'd have those two that are basically interchangeable. Like,
yes.
Especially in this situation where they're fighting Babe Ruthless. They have all the Zords. There's no reason not to make the Mega Dragon Zord, which I think is the cloak one, as you put it. So it's...
Yeah, I don't know.
It's perplexing.
So, look, they get the drill out.
Yep.
And Babe Ruthless just basically straight up impales himself.
Like, not before spitting out some sort of purple...
Oh, he does throw a ball.
Oh, the dodgeball bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, presumably it's a baseball because he's Babe Ruthless.
I didn't get that. Okay, I was like, why are they all of a sudden playing dodgeball?
They hit it back with the tail
of the Dragon Zord, which is pretty cool. And then he shoots out of his cap some sort of pink mist.
Yes.
That Billy says, Jason, now we have to use the shield. And they use this, like, the drill staff of the Mega Dragon Zord as a shield. It seems to project some sort of energy barrier.
The drill spins and it, like, fans the stuff away.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Some sort of, like, misty stuff. Everything goes pink and wobbly for a bit.
Yeah. So that happens.
Yeah. So then he basically puts the drill staff down and Babe Ruthless just runs and impales himself. It's not the most impressive of ends.
Well, look, if you're going to go out, you might as well make a show of it.
I've said this before, last time I was on that show, but it was just a very violent death.
We get a shot of the hole through him.
And you can see the sort of, like, the ridges of the drill inside of his flesh. Like, come on.
Pretty great, guys.
I think it's probably just, like a consequence of him being made of clay. But you can see on his insides that he's just like one whole thing made out of a substance. So he doesn't look like it's a creature.
There's no gore or anything like that.
Blood coming out.
Yeah.
You can see through him.
Yeah, but I think it sort of supports the notion that these are just big clay monsters. That, although they have personality, they're not real creatures, you know, so...
So it's okay to kill them.
Yeah.
It's okay to rip your drill straight through their guts.
Okay, that's one way
so,
to get it.
We get out of the dinosaurs, and someone says, Scorpina is downtown, go to there, and I think Billy says, she must be small again.
No, he says she's probably back in human size. Based on zero evidence.
I mean, why would he assume that, like, if she's gone to cause more havoc, she's shrunk down?
Just little havoc. You know, she wants to do a reasonable amount of havoc.
I mean, he's right.
Yeah, good guess, Billy.
It's Billy.
He probably used his, data predictions from the Island of Illusion episode?
You mean guess. Yeah, so that happens, and now Scorpina's worm monster is monster-sized.
Yeah, as soon as the Power Rangers arrive, the worm monster immediately gets monster-sized, causing them to immediately have to get back to their Zords again.
Yeah, it's...
They barely get their feet on the ground before they have to jump back into the Zords.
I mean, look, it's obviously a function of the fact that it's two separate fights with two separate, like, forms of the Megazord.
Yeah.
But it is not... There's no art to the cutting together of the...
Yeah, I mean, if I had my way, I probably would have just had some voiceover saying, now the worm monster's big, and skip that footage altogether because it's so
Well, I mean,
jarring.
you could have had Rita do Make My Monster Grow, and there's got to have been some way to have done it that was less...
Yeah, jarring.
Yeah.
It was just a mess.
Yeah.
And so this monster looks kind of like a worm version of Bowser, the classic Mario villain.
Oh, yeah. I like that comparison.
And... Look, he doesn't take long. He does get to trap the Megazord in the same tube that we saw before.
He gets like the silly string coming out of his mouth, and then it becomes a tube.
And the Dragon Zord gets the drill on its tail going and kind of cuts down a straight line.
It looks pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. Look, it looks kind of silly, but as an effect,
cool.
it's not bad.
Yeah.
And we see the tube split in half and fall away, and the Megazord's standing there.
The Megazord emerged looking a bit grimy, it's just been in an organic tube of stuff.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And then they destroy it. They make the other form.
It had do you remember the laugh? The bug's laugh?
Did it have a laugh?
It had a really weird, evil laugh. It kind of creeped me out. It didn't really have a voice. It just sometimes laughed.
I didn't even notice the laugh, which is kind of more terrifying. That I'm so used to them having horrifying laughs.
There's no use to
it didn't even have a mouth, but it laughed.
Well, that's awful. So they destroy it
by making the other Mega Dragon Zord.
Yeah.
And shooting a big Z at it.
Z for Power Rangers, man.
Was that something that I've missed?
The Japanese show is called Zayu Ranger. So the Z is their symbol.
Right. Because I'm just like, what? Those flashy things? I just didn't understand, and then it was done. Why didn't they do that at the start? I was very confused.
Because they don't escalate fights.
They know to only use their weapons for defense.
Right.
It's in the song. And Rita says, you'd think you bumbling fools would be able to do something simple like destroy the Power Rangers, which I really think is a nice little bit of characterization.
It's kind of a good joke.
Yeah. She's like, what, you guys couldn't do it? Yeah, well, maybe I'll be in charge now.
Yeah.
And she's not ever going to succeed either. But, so we cut to the juice bar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're watching the TV.
That same newscaster.
Yeah, the newscaster who we've now seen a couple of times.
Who only ever reports news stories about the Power Rangers.
I mean, if you were going to talk about the price of oil, we're at 19 minutes. We don't have a lot of time, okay?
I just feel like his job at the station is to praise the Power Rangers.
Maybe he's their roving ranger reporter.
I like that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I should work in the news.
Yeah, you should.
And so he says, although there was a bit of property damage, no harm befell any of the citizens. Just to convince you that everything's okay, no one got hurt.
That's nice. I wish that guy was in Man of Steel.
Everyone evacuated safely. No one was hurt. So it's either later that day or the next day.
Yeah.
It's very soon after. And Tommy's commercial has already been... Now, as it was presented to us, what they were going to was an audition for the commercial.
Yeah.
And then the winner of the audition would go on to make the commercial. What we see is that within a matter of hours, they have literally used the footage that they got at the audition to cut and broadcast the commercial.
Seemingly without the permission of the people involved, because it's not clear, at least the bulk, that he's...
What their role will be.
Yeah, and that what he did there would be used in a commercial.
Yeah, well, I guess maybe it was in the
thing that he signed.
And he didn't...
It makes sense the bulk wouldn't read the contract thoroughly.
Yeah, he just thought, this is the audition, and he didn't read we're going to use this for the ad that will air this evening.
Yeah.
And the footage we see even goes behind the heads of the audition people briefly, because it's just the footage that we saw earlier in the episode. But it's just, it feels lazy for the show. They didn't bother, not even spending 10 minutes with a different camera.
No pretense.
Yeah. And so the commercial is basically, have you ever tried doing karate? Is it karate?
Yes.
Yes.
Good work.
Oh, Michael. Have you ever tried doing karate? We bet you looked like this, and it's footage of bulk. And then come to Angel Grove Karate School and you can look like Tommy doing karate. Which is incredibly humiliating for Bulk.
Yeah,
like
he's shattered. It's actually very disheartening for him. I am very sad.
And as much as we keep saying that he has a really bad run of luck, this is potentially like a national scale disgrace for him as a person.
Well, I mean, presumably we're not only airing areas serviced by the Angel Grove Karate School.
That's true. So, yeah, but even then, like, you'd think, like, greater Los Angeles area.
Everyone at the school, everyone he knows.
Everyone he knows for a good sort of, 50 miles,
yeah.
I think, would know him as the dude who embarrassed himself on television.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing that already. But they don't know that. That's a different thing. Yeah, it's just... You do feel kind of bad for him.
Yeah, I feel bad for everybody, really. Who gets picked on, but I think that's, like, new low.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. And it's not even it's not even a joke. Like, like when they tease him and it's a punchline. Yeah. Like, oh, that's great. But no, he's just in a commercial and he's like, this guy looks like an idiot. This guy looks better at the end. Like, it's not even a joke. It's just mean. It's
surprising that, frankly, that they didn't get a shot of someone squirting mayonnaise on his face.
Play back there, right?
And so that's where we close the episode.
Yeah.
Now, Matt, are you aware of the Reversion of Power Rangers?
What?
Okay, so about 5 years ago.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I am for that. Yeah. But for the audience.
So about 5 years ago, there was a season of Power Rangers that I think was RPM, but may not have been RPM. I'm not sure.
The last Disney one.
And it was the last Disney season.
Yeah.
And it looked for a while like maybe that would be the end of Power Rangers. It wasn't making a lot of money for Disney, or they didn't know what to do with it.
It was a time of great darkness.
Yep. It could have been the end. And what they decided to do was, instead of that year airing a new season of Power Rangers, they aired the season of Power Rangers that we have seen, but remastered with new CG special effects.
Oh.
Not like replacing anything, but over the top, like redoing the shots and recutting some bits and incredibly kind of low cost redoing, but with the goal of, because it's 20 years old at this point. For there's kids who have easily never seen it, and for whom it might as well be a new season of Power Rangers. So this was the last episode they did.
Okay, so it wasn't too successful then, I guess.
No, well, they got 32 episodes. I don't know if they kind of intended to keep going indefinitely and they stopped.
Yeah.
Or if they thought, we'll do, I don't know, if 32 episodes was enough for them for this season.
Yeah.
And then we'll see where it goes from there. And obviously what ended up happening is Saban bought Power Rangers back.
Yeah.
And has since made 4 or 5 seasons of Power Rangers and show no intent of ever stopping at this rate.
Yeah.
Because we're scheduled about 2 in the future still, and yeah. So I think one day we will get to an episode of the Reversion.
Yeah, I think it'd be worth us watching at least one.
Yeah,
maybe it's like a special episode or something.
I don't think we'll watch it. I don't think we'll watch all 32 chronologically when we get to it.
Worthwhile.
But I think we'll probably watch one of them, maybe just one in the middle at some point. Yeah. But I don't know when we'll get to that. Because it's not available on DVD, I don't think.
So to do sneaky things.
You mean download it legally?
Yes, that's what I meant.
We'll have to look into that and figure that out. So that was A Star Is Born.
That was.
Was Tommy the star? Is that where they're going with that?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm very disappointed. No alien monster birth. I'm so sad.
No.
I was wrong.
It's incredible. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Shattered dreams.
We're frequently disappointed.
That's the Ranger Danger way. Matt,
that's our promise to you. We'll disappoint you every week.
Yeah, it is. Where can they find us, Matt?
I believe our website is at www.rangerdangerpodcast.com.
Yep. And by the time you're hearing this, it should have a brand new lick of paint on it.
That'd be nice. Yeah, not literally.
No. Don't put paint on your computers.
We promise. You can send us an email at rangerdangerpodcast@gmail.com.
Yep.
We're at Twitter, at RangerDcast.
That's right.
We're also on Facebook.
Yes.
And on iTunes.
Yep.
and on YouTube.
Yep, you can subscribe to us there.
Yeah. By this point as well, our time, we've just organised a sponsorship with War Rocket Ajax.
Yep.
My personal favourite podcast.
Yep.
So we may have a few listeners from there. So if you're coming from War Rocket Ajax, welcome. Thank you for listening to the show.
Yeah, send us an email. Say hi.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Sarah. Will you stick around for another one?
I would love to.
Okay. And we'll see you guys next week with The Yolks on You.
Oh, I love puns. So excited.
Bye, guys.
Bye.